Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. May the peace and blessings of Allah be upon you. Welcome to Sisterhood Talks podcast. This is Nadia speaking, and you're listening to the podcast that we discuss everyday life issues through the Islamic lens with the perspectives of three Muslim women living in different parts of the world. So today's episode is quite unplanned, I have to say, because we really weren't expecting anything like this to happen, and we never really thought that we had to make an episode on this topic. But so we just wanted to spread awareness, and we just wanted to do what we can with the platform that we have. Even though we don't have the biggest following on earth, we still wanted to do what we have to do on our part. So for those of people who don't know the situation, we're just going to be adding a clip, and we will just talk about a brother who is facing injustice right now. He's called Ibrahim X, and this episode will be about him and the injustice that he is facing right now and the internet safety bill in the UK.
Meet Ibrahim, a 22-year-old Muslim revert that took his Shahada this year. Ibrahim X has embarked on a journey on building the world's first halal social media site called Dawagram, with a goal of uniting the Ummah. However, 2 months into his journey, he has been arrested by the Matrix. We now more than ever need to unite and spread awareness for our brother Ibrahim.
As you have seen from the clip, Ibrahim X is a new brother who reverted to Islam about 6 or 7 months ago. Allah Mubarak. He embraced Islam. He is quite young. He's 22, I believe, right now. I personally have been following him for quite a long time now. Since the day that he posted his first video, I can say that I have been following him on YouTube since he had like 1K, and on Instagram since he had 5K or something like that. So yeah, I mean, I've never really met him in person, but I've talked to him several times. He's a good brother, mashallah. I can say that he has been doing good for the greater good of this ummah since the day that he reverted. So very recently, about 2 months ago, he created a social media, basically an app that includes no haram content, like music, usury, whatever it is. It's an app like Instagram and Twitter, which is just basically for Muslims, and I've been using it since almost day one, and mashallah, it's a great app. So the situation is, I was really shocked when I heard about it this morning as of October 7th. So he is being allegedly accused terrorism because he basically spoke out against some certain things.
Uploading content to the internet or evidence which such officers have reason to believe is material to the investigation of said crimes, or do otherwise as your lordship shall deem meet. And that's electronically signed by Sheriff Timothy Niven Smith.
That's just what I can say about the situation. It's quite unfortunate. And we can say that he was maybe attacked by the Matrix. He's now being possibly accused of being sentenced to 6 months in jail. That is pure madness, because this is not exactly really about Ibrahim X himself too. This is some sort of danger that the Ummah is facing, basically the internet dawah is facing, because with the specific internet safety bill situation in the UK, basically they can sentence you 6 months in jail for the things that you have said. And if you go out and watch his video that literally got him accused for terrorism, he really doesn't say anything that promotes terrorism or anything like that, but basically because they just did whatever they did. And the internet safety bill in the UK was recently established to help protect people online. Recently, they have been targeting channels with not only massive followers, but small ones in comparison. And it's also good to note that Ibrahim's channel was monetized before, and he had videos taken down before. So it's also good to note that the Internet Safety Bill can also mean legally they can interfere with what you say and how you say it. Recently in Canada, podcasts with revenues of over $10 million have to be licensed to the government and regulated to be told what to say according to what the government wants. So, like I've said before, this is really not something about Ibrahim X specifically. The reason why we also wanted to speak about this topic was that this is a dangerous situation that our Ummah is facing, especially in the Dawah sphere that we're all in and the online platforms. It can be rather Instagram, YouTube, just whatever platform that you're spreading the truth about Islam. It's just really crazy that we are even in this sort of a situation. And it's also crazy to think that these people who try to regulate the others' thoughts and their sayings are also the people who are promoting quote unquote free speech. I mean, why is this not another free speech case? Why, like, what is the difference? Someone is expressing their thoughts. Why is this not free speech? And why is it something that causes somebody to be accused with terrorism and then causes him to be sentenced with like 6 months in jail? Why? And basically, this person is not even like promoting violence, just stating beliefs. This is exactly free speech. Anybody can say whatever they want to. He's not even promoting violence. If you watch that video, you will clearly understand that he's just sharing his beliefs and his thoughts. But unfortunately, when it's Islamic thoughts and Islamic beliefs that are being shared, it is something for the governments to regulate, like it is something to be regulated. They don't know the truth about it. Well, they know the truth about it, but they're kuffar, meaning they're the ones who cover the truth, and they just don't want that to be shared. So they're trying their best to really not share that truth. Also, about the situation with Ibrahim X. So, right now we know that all electronics are seized. It's also, I think, good to note that pretty much no big Muslim influencers have reached out. So, like, if by any chance any Muslim influencer is watching this video, and if you still haven't reached out to Ibrahim X himself or maybe people around him, please do so because you probably have a platform that you can use for the better. If you have even the littlest thing that you can do, please do so. I mean, we don't even have 20 subscribers. But we still wanted to make this video and spread the truth about it because we have some sort of a platform, even though it's not the biggest one. If you have a bigger platform than this, or if you just can do anything, then please do reach out. This is also something great to note. And also because Ibrahim is being charged and basically accused with all these things, he needs help. And we will also link the GoFundMe that was made to keep the diagram running in the description box. So please make sure that you also check that out. If you can help with anything, please do so. The GoFundMe link will be in the description down below. By the way, this video will be relatively shorter than we usually do. And yeah, now I will just ask what Haleema and Sarah think, and then we will just wrap it up. Haleema, what do you think?
Yeah, thank you, Nadia. That was a great introduction to this topic. Personally, I think the online safety bill can be a good thing, specifically when it comes to things such as corn or when it comes to children. I think when it specifically comes to these topics, you have to really be careful and you have to introduce proper guidelines. It's a little troublesome when you, for example, say when it comes to terrorism, what topics would lead to it being called terrorism or fraud or hate crime or violence. Because if it's simply just introducing a topic without actually condoning anything, or for example, discussing the harmful effects of certain activities, you're not obviously encouraging violence. I don't think that should be considered terrorism. And so I think that's where it gets tricky. So overall, I think it can be potentially a good thing, especially if it protects against corn. But you really have to be careful of introducing such laws because it can lead to unreasonable arrests.
Okay, yeah, I agree. Sarah, what do you have to say about this topic? What do you think?
As you know, he's a young YouTuber that is quite passionate about his message. He, on many videos, was explaining how pornography was very detrimental to him. So there are many things to be said on the form and the content of this quite short video, 7-minute long video. He wanted to speak about the Internet Safety Bill and his right for freedom of speech. So this short video was specifically intended for his audience that are telling him from time to time to stop speaking his truth, to be fearful of what the social media are going to do, maybe ban some of his videos or his account. And he was answering them. He was saying that he stands firmly against some industries that are promoting child abuse. And he said in many of his previous videos that he was exposed to these contents very young. To him, it's a quite traumatic experience, and he doesn't want his children, his family, his community, his country to suffer from this. So this is his message. He stands firmly against the porn industry, against, teaching the children about the LGTB content, telling children that they can be male or female, to confuse them. And so he was answering his audience in a very humoristic, dark, sarcastic way. So I understand how this can be taken out of context. That's his way to engage with his audience, his way of communicating, of releasing the tension about the very serious subjects he's talking about. And he wanted to tell them, no, I'm not afraid. This is not about hate speech. And even if they want to come and take me, then so be it. He has identified that the biggest problem in the UK and in the West in general is that exposition of children to sexual content, whether it be visual with pornography or mental with that gender identity confusion at school or sexual topics at school taught to children. That's the biggest harm that can be done to a child, to deprive him from his innocence, his childhood, to make him a slave to those confusions, because this child or those children are going to be so profoundly damaged that they may not be able to recover from this and construct themselves as strong individuals. And he also believes that death penalty is something that a country should consider when an industry is harming the youth and harming the people. An example that comes to mind is that drug industry. When you have countries that are very strict with selling drugs and they are giving death penalty to those people, they experience a drastic drop of the consumption in that country. So for him, this is the same thing, and he wanted to alert people and hopefully the society about the dangers of these industries that are pushing children at such a young age to be concerned with sexuality, and they are actually confusing them and confusing their core identities. And so what he was saying about the Internet Safety Bill is that on the one hand, it's not going to stop him or prevent him from saying his truth because of a potential hate speech attack. And on the other hand, he does not believe that this Internet Safety Bill is going to be strongly implemented to protect children from being exposed to these pornographic contents. And because it was done in a provocative way, in a very sarcastic, dark, humoristic way, I can see how people can be confused, especially if they have never seen his content before, if they don't know his message. They may think that, okay, he's for death penalty, and because he's a Muslim, then this is the perfect recipe for terrorism, which is not. And we have to be very cautious of not confusing these two realms of free speech and terrorism, because terrorism is a very serious accusation, and this is very damaging to him as an individual, to his family. This is the reason why we are standing here and defending his name, because we strongly believe that he has nothing to do with this accusation. We wouldn't do this if we believed he was a violent person, and we do not stand for violence either.
It hasn't even been like 2 months since Dawa Girl was released. Now Ibrahim is being accused and sentenced with jail for like some 6 months or just whatsoever it is. It's pure madness. This is just what we want to say. And like I've said, please do visit the GoFundMe link and try to donate whatever you can, as that little donation that you do can help Telegram and just keeping it running, because it's important. And if you are not on Telegram already, like, what have you been doing? And please do join there, because it's such a great platform to be on. There are many like-minded brothers and sisters who you can connect to. And by the way, please don't forget to subscribe and follow us on the platform that you are watching, either Telegram, Spotify, or YouTube. Don't forget to follow Sisterhood Talks and share this podcast and just the episodes that you have been listening to. Feel free to comment down below your thoughts there. Jazakallah khairan for listening. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.